This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time.
He's got him. Side touch is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Good morning. It's another great morning for Ken and Ken in the morning. Joe is in the car after dropping the children off at school so they can become educated on how to become good Chicago Bears fans. Okay, maybe you Las Vegas.
That's not educated.
Ken, the bearded Packer fan with the morning not coffee.
Oh, no, it's coffee this morning.
Whoa, what? He's joined the ranks, Joe.
Oh, that's because I've had like a late night like the past 3 nights.
And then, of course, good morning, Mitch.
Town. See, we won't even call you Meth Town Mitch anymore since we know not all of your takes are terrible.
Just the football ones. Just remind me of yeah. Well, Mitch, I got something that Mitch is gonna love. I gotta download it real quick because I forgot to download it this morning because I had my morning schedule got a little messed up. But I'm gonna show you guys something. Okay, it's going to my desktop. And I was like, okay, come on. I mean, like I said, the way too early morning, predictions for football and like, oh God, really this too? But I'm going to show you guys this, and you guys, I'm not ascribing to it, but this is one of the, I don't even know where this came from Dan, right? Football fan Dan. Anyways, here it is. I don't know where he got it, but he found this on the net yesterday. This is someone's basically 2025 playoff predictor for this year. I was like, okay. Ken's gonna like this the least.
Whoever came up with this, I really need to start getting some weed from them because holy shit, you're out there on this one.
Not a Bears fan that did it. So let's look at the AFC side first, and then we'll get to why Ken is like, what? But it's okay. So they have the number 1 seed in the AFC being Buffalo. I could actually see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
See happening. Okay. Then it gets a little interesting. Baltimore being the 2 seed. Okay. I could probably roll with that. The Chargers being the 3 seed is interesting, but not completely out of the realm of possibility. Mm-hmm. You guys, are we all tracking the same so far?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The 4th seed, though, this is not where I'm at. Jacksonville Jaguars in the 4 seed.
Well, yeah, because they're
Yep, because their division sucks so much.
I guess. But then they got the Jets in the 5
Jacksonville is the division winner.
Yeah, they only have a 9-win record. Look, they're 9-8, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not terribly easy.
At 11-4, the New York Jets are the 5 seed.
That's crazy.
I was going to say, this is where the crack rock starts to come out.
The Kansas City Chiefs at 10-7 are the 6th seed. Cincinnati at 9-8 is the 7th seed. I agree Cincinnati gets in. I don't know if they're only 9-8. And I don't know if Kansas City is going to drop down to the 6th seed. So then, okay, you look at the matchups. they have the Jets beating the Jaguars. Well, I guess whoever the 5 seed is probably would beat the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
Quote me the Baltimore Ravens who would beat the Cincinnati Bengals. And then you have Buffalo, KC at Buffalo. Buffalo finally, rids themselves of the KC curse and beats them. And you have an AFC championship of Jets at Buffalo. Buffalo winning that. I mean, the Jets getting to the AFC championship is what blows my mind on the AFC side more than anything.
This dude has to be a Jets fan.
No, I'm telling you, this guy, he might say he's not a Bears fan, but the way that this stacks up, it looks like a Bears fan came out with it. Because you got the Bears in the NFC Championship, and you got Justin Fields in the AFC Championship. This was definitely a Bear take.
So then, what seems how Ken wants to jump ahead of the class.
I always did.
I think it's just Sexual who did it. With the Jets going to the AFC Championship. So then we go to the NFC. Washington has the 1 seed. I'm like, interesting. The 2 seed would be Detroit at 11-4. The 3 seed would be the Rams at 11-4. That one I can actually see. I can see them win. The 4 seed would be Atlanta. They win their division at 10-7. I'm sorry, I don't see that. I've got Tampa Bay all day. Philly's a 5 seed with a 12-5 record. The Bears are the 6th seed at 10-7. And then Dallas is 10-7 in the 7th seed. The way he has the bracket breaking out, the Commanders get the boys or the girls in the second round because Dallas will beat Detroit in Detroit. I don't see that happening. But okay. And it's Washington, Dallas. In the second round, you've got the Bears and the Eagles because he has the Bears beating the Rams in LA. And yeah, I have the Eagles taking care of the Falcons. Yeah, I see that one. Then his NFC Championship is the Redskins and the Bears. I'm sorry, I don't see either team in the NFC Championship this year, but whatever. And then the Super Bowl is Washington and the Bills. And the Bills, I could see them winning the Super Bowl. That I could agree with, just not their opponent.
Yeah, whoever made this apparently is in a time portal stuck in the 80s because crack's apparently real cheap.
Then the NFC North rankings this person has is the Lions at first with 11 wins, the Bears in second at 10-7. I guess they get in the playoffs because they own the tiebreaker with the Vikings, would also be 10-7, and Green Bay would be 8-9 in the basement. Look at all things aside, fandom aside, 8-9 Packers being 8-9 in the basement, completely plausible as it could be for Minnesota, Chicago, or Detroit as well. That's completely plausible in my mind that the Packers could end up that way. But I also say it at the same time, because I already see Ken reeling, that that could also you could say the same thing for Minnesota. You could say the same thing for Chicago. You could say the same thing for Detroit, the way this division's built. So interesting, way too early playoff predictor. But I thought, Mitch would get a kick out of that. And let me get to the comments here because I'm sorry I've had to overlay up, so I haven't got Brent is like, what the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot over? He's like, someone needs to put down the pipe. Good morning, Nicholas. Happy Thursday to you as well. Look at that. The Cowgirls beating the Lions and the Bears in the playoffs. How much crack did he smoke? Look at the Bears in the playoffs is plausible. I mean, that can happen. But I don't agree. I agree. I don't think Dallas would be in that playoff scenario. I'm sorry, I got Detroit in that game. Good morning, Sarah, doing the good paralegal work. Eric, good morning. Hope you're having a good day, my friend. Yeah, I definitely don't agree with this. I don't think any of us really agree with it. Somebody must be drunk.
I don't think
you're giving them way more credit than I am, because I think that this prediction came live to you from your local rehab.
Honestly, dude, I don't think his AFC predictions are that terrible, except for the Jets.
Okay,
the Jets
I was going to say
is unrealistic.
Okay.
So the Jets, who would be the 5 seed then?
I mean, one team I don't see anywhere in there is Houston.
Yep.
I think I have an easier time believing Houston to be the 5 seed than the Jets.
Yep.
Well, that would mean Houston would take out Jacksonville maybe as the division champ. I mean, he's got Jets winning 11.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would buy the Jacksonville Jaguars as a wild card over the Jets.
Well, here's the other thing. I would buy New England over the Jets.
1,000%. Because I truly believe New England's going to finish number 2 in that division.
This guy must be a Justin Sexual. He's a Justin Sexual. Plain and simple.
Yeah, but other than that, take the Jets out and put, insert team A here, and I think it's pretty realistic.
Your mic.
Yeah, the AFC I have the least problems with, minus the Jets thing. On the NFC side, though,
on the NFC side, all of a sudden the dude picked up the crack pipe and went to the land of Oz for a minute, and
I don't think, for example, I don't think the NFC East sends 3 to the playoffs.
I don't think the Rams go 11-6.
I think the Rams may win that division though, so I can see them being 3 seed.
Yep.
Right? I could see them being the 3 seed. So the record, I don't agree with. I could look at the Bears being 10-7. Okay. I mean, I could roll with that. Like I said, you take his little NFC North rankings and you could mix and match any of the 4 teams. I would agree with it. Right? One of the teams will probably win 11 games. 1 or 2 teams will win 10. One team will win 8, and just throw a dart at the dartboard for which team's going to be which. I can agree with that. I'm fine. The guy had his bias when he did it, but I mean, I could also say that, look, I could make Green Bay 10-7 and make Minnesota 8-9 or Detroit 8-9. I'm fine with that. But I don't see the Commanders winning that division. Right?
I don't think there's a high probability of it, but I definitely think it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, he has Washington and Philly.
I think the probability could be higher than you think, because the Eagles could, like I said, the Super Bowl hangover, man. Maybe the Eagles don't win the division.
A lot of defensive guys too.
Damn.
Well, you think Goff is
cooking this morning?
You're the one who believes me. He has them both at 12-5. I mean, Washington, I guess, could.
Hey, I was gonna say I thought Eric made this, but the Giants aren't the number 1 seed, so
yeah. But I don't see the Cowboys getting in. They always find a way to choke. I would find it more believable if it was Lions, Bears, Vikings, or Lions, Bears, Packers, or Lions, Packers, Vikings, or any combination of 3 NFC North teams. I don't think Atlanta wins that division. I mean, that's Tampa's division. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got problems on the North. I mean, I think we could all possibly agree with that. This could be the year Buffalo finally wins it all.
I think Atlanta is not as controversial as some of the others, though, because I think the dude's just putting a lot of stock in Penix. He's saying, Penix is gonna turn that team around, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility.
Well,
your mic.
He's put a lot of stock in Detroit as far as their new OC, new DC, and that Dan Campbell's going to keep that ship humming along. I mean, he's given them a lot of stock with that. And then he's saying, I don't know why he's saying the Packers are going to be 8-9. I mean, I do and I don't, because our division. Look at the Packers, only like the Bears, were 1-5 in the division last year. So it's not like they were stellar, but they were good enough to make the playoffs. They were a pretty good team. They did win a couple of last second, heroic games, a blocked field goal here, a made field goal at the last minute. So, I mean, but they were a competitive, good team. So them being 8-9, like I said, not a huge, massive stretch, right? Just like Minnesota, Chicago, or Detroit being that, I don't think would be a huge, massive stretch. But he gives a lot of credit to the Lions. He gives a lot of credit to Dallas. He gives a lot of credit to Washington, a ton of credit to Washington. And then if it breaks out the way he says it breaks out, I don't see Dallas marching into Detroit, even with Eberflus as a DC, and beating the number 2 seed in Wild Card Weekend.
I don't see any way in how the Bears beat the Eagles in the playoffs. Like in a regular season game, I'd give them a shot, but you're completely new with a new head coach going into a team that's battle tested in the playoffs.
The newness thing kind of is gone by week 9, right? But I mean, I don't even know if they go to LA and beat the Rams in LA in the playoffs, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let alone the Eagles. I mean, in fact, if the Eagles, if they take out Atlanta, good morning, Philip, take out Atlanta, and let's say that's Tampa, I could see Tampa winning the home game against Philadelphia because they got that X factor in Baker. But my biggest problem here is on that top going down that Dallas, beating the Lions in Detroit and then Washington marching to the Super Bowl. I just don't.
I could see the argument for Washington making it to the Super Bowl, but I do not see the argument of Dallas beating any playoff team.
Yeah, I don't think the Bears are going to the NFC Championship. I mean, I'm not. All right, let me put this another way. I think if you make the playoffs, you have a chance at making the NFC Championship game. I mean, Washington proved that last year. So let's not, look, if he thinks the Bears get in and the Bears can make it to the NFC Championship, fine. But I also say that could also be true of any of the NFC North teams that get in. I mean, Washington last year shouldn't have made it past the first round. They made it to the NFC Championship. Get in, things happen. I think he's given way too much credit early on to the Bears, like you said, getting, familiar with Ben Johnson's offense and the new defense and all that. I mean, would it be a great story? Sure, it'd be great for Bears fans. It'd be a wonderful story. And Washington did it last year, but, dude, it usually doesn't happen 2 years in a row. I mean, it could happen, but you know what? I could win the lotto tomorrow, too, and I don't know if that's going to happen. So I probably won't because I didn't buy a lotto ticket this week.
I was going to say, I think you got better odds of Washington making it to the NFC Championship game / Super Bowl than winning the lottery.
Bears, though, making it. I don't think Washington makes it. I think Washington overachieved last year. I really think Washington – look, I'm not trying to hate on the Redskins either. Yeah, they were the 4th. Yeah, but if they win the division, they would be the 4th seed, Eric. I mean, and then look, I think – yeah, I don't think the Cowgirls make the playoffs.
Eric, you might be fucking slightly out there, but at least you're not on every drug known to man like whoever came up with this.
I can understand why maybe he has the Texans missing the playoffs and the Jags winning that division because the Texans, look, they had a great year on Stroud's rookie year. Last year was okay, but they faltered some. And, that first year was kind of I'll draw parallels to the 2018 Bears. New head coach, new young hot quarterback, or hot for the moment, right? And then there was a cooling off period last year, and they cooled off. Unlike Nagy, they went to the playoffs last year, just like Nagy did in 19. This could be more of a coach thing than a player thing, right? Nagy misses the playoffs in his 3rd year. Maybe they missed D'Amico, or it's D'Amico Ryans is the coach on the right. Yep. Maybe D'Amico isn't the coach they thought they would, and he misses the playoffs, and they keep sliding a little bit after that hot start. That's possible.
I get what you're saying. I do not subscribe to that personally. I think the Texans are a legitimate team if I can talk properly.
Well, I'm not saying they're not legit. I'm saying that could be his argument. I'm making.
I think they're the cream of that division.
I understand it. I just don't agree with it.
And I think they're the cream of. I think the Texans are the cream of that division. Like, I don't think. I don't think Jacksonville jumps to 10 wins or.
No, what they've done to fix that team. I mean, okay, new head coach. Okay, great.
That could be a major component of it because they did look pretty hot for a bit and then had a massive fucking collapse.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I could see the Jags maybe in a battle like inching them out, and then that's the only team that their division sends. I mean, so that's I said that one at least is a little bit more plausible than I think his NFC side with the Commanders going the NFC Championship, the Cowgirls even getting in the playoffs. I would think actually that honestly, I don't think the Cowboys I don't think they win a game against the NFC North. I mean, their best shot week 2 because it's week 2 against Chicago, and week 2 is going to suck. But their defense won't be in place yet, so you might have a little bit of advantage Chicago there because our defense is going to be a little more intact because or could be a little more intact. But I don't know. Week 2 could be kind of a toss me up because it's week 2. It's still like the preseason. I think the Lions, because Eberflus defenses always do good against the Lions. But I'm sorry, Green Bay just has their number. I wouldn't sleep on them, though, if I'm Green Bay, because they are going to have a much better defense than they've had in years past against you. And Minnesota's a big wild card because of JJ. But, I mean, I could see the North sending 3 to the playoffs again this year, and I could see us doing better in the playoffs than we did last year.
No, you better hope and pray we do better in the playoffs than we did last year. Because holy shit, was that abysmal for the whole division.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, Mike, look at the Texans own that division for years to come. I would say just the Jags could be a surprise this year, and there's a surprise every year, and maybe the Jags are because, like we said, Ken, like you said, they start out hot, then they fizzled, and maybe it was coaching because they do have some talent there. And then who was it? Phillips said injuries will play a major role in the upcoming season. I agree. Oh Jesus.
We'll see.
But I mean, but
If they make the playoffs, I might cream my pants, though.
Well, what the fuck do you mean, Mike?
like his NFC North predictions. Like I said, I could put those teams in any order with those records and probably say that the records might be right, but the teams may change.
Yeah. If the Raiders make the playoffs, it's going to be like that Randy Marsh spooky ghost meme, dude.
Yeah, there we go.
Spooky ghost.
Now we got Joe.
Ectoplasm.
Now we got Joe being honest here, because that'd be like me saying I wouldn't do the same thing if Green Bay won the Super Bowl. We all know if that happened, I'd be the most insufferable bastard around.
I mean,
did you see the spooky ghost?
I mean, but he does discount the Giants, some of their defense. I think maybe the Giants might be better than the Cowboys in some ways. In some ways, like defensively, I think they're better. Even though I think that the Cowboys probably end up have a better DC. I think Washington's got a good OC, but they overachieved last year. And while they did make moves to kind of, that said, hey, we overachieved, so let's get some real players in here. I don't know if that's going to work for them.
Hey, now Ken, you just gave me the perfect fucking segue into the title of today's show. We've got a rumor with the Giants to start the morning. Eric, you might want to plug your fucking ears for this one, buddy.
I'll turn it up. Go with it.
There is a report. Again, I don't know the validity of it. I've just seen it. I haven't looked into it. But that Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart already have major issues between them. And Russell Wilson's being a dick to Jackson Dart. And it seems more like they're going to isolate Dart and keep him with Jameis Winston and let Russell Wilson take the beating for the year and then ship him out of town.
Look at Eric's response. Oh, no. Next slide, please. Come on, man. Russ is like the salty old vet, and here comes in the first round pick, and he's like, shut up and sit down and learn, kid. And Dart's like, I'm a first rounder. Yeah, shut up, sit down and learn.
Yeah, that's a great narrative for anybody not named Russell Wilson that's had issues in the locker room wherever he's fucking been because he's got the holier than thou mentality.
But that's what I'm saying. He's like, I'm Russell freaking Wilson. Here's my wife Sierra. No, you can't even talk to her. She's too hot for you, and she's got too many hit singles. Go sit your ass in the corner, Rook. Put on your little hat and learn. I can see it being like that, and like that's just so like that rumor coming out of New York. Does that surprise anyone?
No, but just for accuracy, it would actually be more like, "Hey, I'm Russell Wilson. This is my wife Sierra, and this is her baby daddy / bull future."
Oh, so you're saying that Russell Wilson is Captain Cuckchair?
I'm saying him and Darcy could be friends, is what I'm saying.
Honest happened.
They could start a club.
I mean,
They could start a club together.
that's a good rumor.
But am I the only one on this panel? Am I the only one on this panel that right now I would take Jackson Dart over Russell Wilson?
No. If it was me, if I was the Giants, I'm starting Jameis Winston over him.
And I'm starting Dart halfway through the season, like just to see what he has. Like, he's the mystery box.
Yeah. No. Believe me, I get the mystery box, buddy. But I would rather sit Dart for the whole year and let Jameis Winston, since he's already kind of taken him a bit under his wing, to where he can show him, hey, you see, this is where I fucked up here, here, and here. This is where I did good here, here, and here. And try to teach him a little more, kind of like how Aaron Rodgers did with Jordan Love. And not get an Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre like you would with Wilson.
But there's a concern with that for me. And that's that Jameis Winston has never really taken care of the ball. And one of Jackson Dart's, like one of the knocks on him is that he has some questionable decision-making at times. So I'm not sure that I want Jameis Winston giving him advice on ball security and on decision-making.
God's honest truth. I'd like that, since Winston's already a guy that's a little reckless with it, and Dart is known to be a little reckless, that he can kind of show him by, hey, you see how bad my performance was because of being so reckless. There's nothing against being reckless. As you see, I was 30 for 30, but don't go fucking full fucking crab legs on me.
I honestly, I think Russell's going to be the starter just because he's Russell and he's still not bad. He's probably better than and Dart. I would rather start here. I agree with Ken. I would set Dart for a year. Let him learn. Let him see what not to do. Learn the offense, which is going to change after they fire their head coach at the end of the year, possibly. Anyways, so that would be better for Dart. Anyways, he can learn the speed of the game. Not and if they fire the coaching staff, it's not like he's going to have to learn a whole new playbook, but he's not going to be in those bad on-field practices. And then next year too, he's in a better situation to take over. Because here's the problem for him. Dart's obviously their future right now. As of now, he's their future. They moved back into the first round to get the kid. They think he's their future, but you just signed Russ Wilson. You just signed Winston, who you can throw away whenever, and no one in New York would bat an eyelash if they cut Winston tomorrow. But Russ, that's his team for at least this year, maybe next year. But I could see why. But Russ could feel threatened. He'd be like, look, dude. You're not starting for a couple of years. This is my team now. And I'm not on a one-year deal like I was in Pittsburgh. I'm on a multi-year deal now, right? So guess what? Sit down. Isn't it a 2-year deal you signed?
I think Jameis is the one with the 2-year deal. I think Russell's the only one. Hold on.
Yeah, let's double check that.
Yeah, let me look it up before I fully put my foot in my mouth.
If Russ is looking to be good so he can go get paid again next year and try to catch up to Kirk Cousins with winning the winning free agency. But I would.
The thing is, though,
I would sit Dart for at least, at minimum, half, if not 3/4.
1 year.
Is it a 1-year deal? Okay.
Yep, 1 year, 21 mil.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I would sit Dart, man. Like, I know Dart wants to get in there. I know New York. Look at, he's a late first-round pick. Sit him for at least a year. I'm saying at least a year, maybe 2. It's going to be beneficial to you.
It could be. But I would also argue that I would rather put Dart in this year and let him make his rookie mistake. And then next year, he'll be ready to go. Like, So, I mean, you're not expecting a playoff run this year. So it's like, but the Giants' cupboards aren't completely bare. Like, you have Malik Neighbors. That's a great weapon, great tool for a rookie quarterback.
So let's say they're 3-5 with Russ. Then yeah, I agree with you. 8 games in, if you're 3-5, all right, Russ, it's been nice knowing you. We're gonna go with Dart. Or even if you're 8 games in, and let's say you're 2-4, or you're even if you're 4-4, you're probably going with Russ. But at some point, if you can, when they know that the playoffs are out of the picture, yeah, you throw Dart in. And if you lose, you lose. It's just to make a better draft pick for you. I think though, coming into the season, because their D line is so good, that they're going to run with Russ until they have a record that says we're probably not making a playoff run, and we can go with the kid.
Wouldn't it be absolutely hilarious is if by the midway point of the year, Russell Wilson gets cut for the Jets and Jameis Winston starting with Dart backing him up?
I don't know if the Giants would cut him if they bench him, because they would. I don't think that they still want to be the backup. But
I was gonna say, don't forget they still have fucking Tommy Cutlets waiting in the fucking background as the emergency.
And as I said, I was thinking another thing. If he's gonna get benched, what kind of cancer might he become in the locker room if he got benched? Yeah, but I think for the Giants, like until their playoff aspirations are dead, Russ is the starter. And once it becomes evident and clear that they're not going to be in the playoffs, they're gonna play Dart, and kind of like it's what the Falcons did last year with Kirk Cousins. When you think about it, they ran Kirk out there until we're not going to be a playoff team, so it's time for penance.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Dable is actually going to get fired at the end of the season. I know I said it earlier, just a few minutes ago, but I also said yesterday that he could be, hitched to Dart, him and the GM. They could both be hitched to Dart over the next 2 years. I don't know if Dable gets fired. I think a lot of the problems they've had in New York, when he got there, remember when he first got there with Matt, with Danny Dimes, they had that good first year. They came in gangbusters, but then Danny gets hurt, and then they start having player personnel issues. Then they lose Saquon.
And then they start having personality issues from their head coach.
But once again, I don't care. If you're an assistant coach who doesn't like the head coach, guess what? You're fired. I mean,
it's not like it's just one guy. It's multiple.
That makes no sense. Yeah, but at the same time, though, he's still giving you a job, man. Be happy. Because guess what? You might not be working anywhere in the NFL. I mean, that's just – I mean, I'm not saying what you're saying isn't true, but that's just a weird argument to me.
Hey, you see a lot of times people get fired because they can't get along.
But that's okay. But look at if it's a difference between the head coach and an assistant coach, and it's not the players. If the players are copacetic and the head coach still has the locker room, but as I say, if he still has the locker room, then the assistant coaches are going to be the ones that go, not the head coach. You don't get rid of a head coach because your assistant running backs coach has a problem with the head coach. Oh, well, I'll just go get another assistant running back coach. I'll just go get another back coach or another wide receiver coach or another OC or DC. I mean, honestly, and actually, Dable's the one who can fire him whenever he wants. So if they have issues, I'm surprised Dable hasn't already fired him. That's what I mean. Like for me, that's a weird argument because if they're only having so many issues, like, dude, he's the hiring and firing authority. He can fire them whenever he wants. If they're so unhappy there, and there's so much, we think he's a dick and everything, why hasn't he fired you yet?
At a certain point, that's like working with a bad manager. The owners eventually got to cut that because you're losing too many people.
Who are they losing, though?
They already lost their defensive coordinator, and then there were a couple position guys, I think, too. But then there's been more assistant coaches that have come out and said that. And this one, there wasn't a name attached to it, but supposedly the front office has had issues with him. But that one, nobody attached a name, so I put that in.
Did they quit? Did they get fired? Or did they take promotions with other teams?
A lot of them quit. Straight up quit. Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a piece of context here is that, problems like that tend to get exacerbated when you're not winning. Like, it's like you're an organization that has high expectations, and because let's be honest, the Giants are one of the premier programs, the premier organizations in the league. They 4 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Joe just froze on us. As soon as I go, are they though? He freezes.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. Like,
No, but
there he goes.
no, yeah, I believe they're one of the premier organizations. Like they're a storied franchise. Like they're a respectable franchise. They have as many Super Bowls as Green Bay. Like, you know, they've fallen on some hard times, and when you're not winning, things like this get blown way up. You know, like I guarantee you, if they were winning games, you wouldn't be hearing so much about these problems with Dable and the assistants and everything. It would all be kept in house because they want to keep winning games. But because they're not, you know, winning right now, like it's in the media because the assistants are going to the reporters and they're dishing out the scoops and.
No, I can see your point there with it, Joe. It's just I've heard so much of it being in this area. It's hard for me to not think that where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, I absolutely think there's fire. I'm just saying that there's also don't forget that, you know, what adds to that, what compounds that problem is that they're not winning, and they expected to win when they brought Dable in. You know, they thought him and Danny Dimes, like especially after that first year, you know, you have to think that their hopes were high in the sky, you know, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off, and now they're kind of sitting around looking at the wreckage like, how the fuck did we get here? You know, like
That comes to Danny Dimes getting injured. That kind of like they were flying high, then Danny Dimes gets injured and they never recovered. And the thing is, like, even with scrappy teams, like Dable's pulled out some big wins with some nobodies. Like, remember when they beat Green Bay that game in New York? I mean, they weren't even
that was in England. It was overseas. It was overseas when we lost to Tommy Cutlets.
Either way,
Tommy Cutlets.
The game was irrelevant. The fact that the Giants beat the Packers with a team that shouldn't even have been in that fight, like that shouldn't even have been a game, and they beat the Packers. So I don't know if they're completely like. I think management there is more likely to keep him with another year at Dart, as long as he doesn't lose the locker room. He's gonna be him and the GM are, I think, maybe going to be a little more tied to Dart, and I don't think they're going to want to rush Dart in this season. But I think if they get to a point where their playoff aspirations are dead, then they kind of do what Atlanta did and bring Dart in and tell Russ thanks, go sit on the bench for a while, and see what's what. And speaking of that situation, we haven't heard anything on Kirk Cousins, all right? Like Penix right now, everyone's like, he's a starter in Atlanta. And we heard rumors that they were going to try to trade.
It's going to take a major injury to somebody's starter for Kirk to get moved. Some teams got to be desperate for that to happen.
I haven't even heard anything. Like we heard the Cousins that they would want to trade him at some point. Rumors like weeks ago, and we haven't heard anything. Not a single rumor out there.
Because everybody's quarterback's healthy right now. And when Atlanta called and asked if they wanted to trade, they fucking laughed at them and hung up the phone.
Pittsburgh? What's Pittsburgh cooking with over there?
They're waiting on Rodgers' game.
On Rodgers?
Well, and they also drafted Will Howard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's a huge indictment on Cousins. Like the fact that Pittsburgh has no starting quarterback right now, and they haven't even bothered to call the Falcons and be like, hey, you know, what's it going to take to get Kirko over here? That tells me that even Pittsburgh's like, no, we're good. Like we don't need to throw $50 million at him. I think Kirko's run of being the winner of free agency is finally over.
Yeah.
Hey, but let's give the man a round of applause. I mean, he pulled $700 million out of the NFL, dude. Like,
Yeah,
that guy's damn near a billionaire. If he invested his money right in 10 years, Kirko will be a billionaire.
You like that?
Yeah, a Ned Flanders billionaire.
And look, and we know Kirko lives modestly, right? He drives a minivan, lives in a regular suburban house. I mean, he's walking.
He says "Oakley dokley" to his neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, like, and look, it's not that Kirk Cousins is a terrible quarterback. Numbers wise, he's not bad. He always
all the way until last year. I would agree with that sentiment.
Well, last year, you know, his start in Atlanta was very rocky. I get, yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's not like he's a terrible quarterback. Let me rephrase it. He's not a terrible quarterback. He's a pretty good quarterback. I mean, he made Minnesota competitive. He didn't cost him. Did he ever cost Minnesota a game?
Yes. If you listen to Vikings fans, the playoff loss that they had recently, they 100% blame him for throwing the check down there when he had a guy wide open.
Well, yeah, but he didn't. Okay, that's not costing a game because he threw a check down for a completion that maybe didn't get the yardage. He didn't throw pick sixes.
But it was a check down on 4th down.
Yep.
I get that, but he might not have even seen the guy downfield. That's why I always love it. Oh, but look at that guy way over there was open. Okay, now put yourself on field level in their view.
The guy was literally almost right behind the other guy.
Yeah.
It was one of those that if you saw the guy you threw the check down to, there's no way you didn't see the other fucking guy.
Well, we assume that. I'm not trying to defend Kirk, but at the same time, we assume he didn't see it. But I mean, Kirk made his teams competitive. He didn't throw pick sixes that cost you games, Jared Goff. He kept Minnesota relevant, even when sometimes they shouldn't have been relevant. He put them in position to win games overall. So I mean, same thing in Washington. He's not a bad quarterback. He's going to be an interesting situation to follow as we get into June.
I just think it's the Achilles. I think they saw that how that injury affected him, and so you're not getting the same Kirko that kept Minnesota relevant. You're getting Achilles Kirko.
He's had a whole nother offseason to heal, though, Joe. That Achilles might be better this year, where he's back. Like him and Rodgers could both be back to form this year.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that's impossible, but what I'm saying is, obviously, teams are not really willing to take that chance right now.
And don't forget, too, that it wasn't that long ago that the Achilles was the absolute career ender for quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So it might just be a little bit of a flashback to that type of stuff.
And, yeah, I don't disagree with you, Ken. I actually expect that Rodgers will be back healthier this year than he was last year. And I think Kirko could be, too. But I just don't think teams are willing to take that chance with Cousins. They might be willing to take the chance with Rodgers, even with all the drama he brings because he's Rodgers. But
he stays in Atlanta. Kirk is the highest paid backup in NFL history at this point.
Yeah, and that's another thing is like he's on the hook this year for $50 million. Like, that's who. If he was on the hook for 20, 25. There might be a team that'll say, hey, okay, we'll take a shot. But for Jordan Love, Joe Burrow money, like they're like, nah. Nah. And there's a good chance he's gonna be sitting by week 6. Nah. We got bigger fish to fry with our cap space, dude. Like
but you go down to that division though. I mean, is the Penix-led Falcons better than Tampa?
We have to wait and see, but I've been one for since Penix came out in the draft. I've been saying that I expect good things from that dude. Like his arm talent is ridiculous, dude. I
mean, look at the Baker. Not only does he have his 2 main weapons back, they made that wide receiving room better with Ibuka. Mm-hmm. He's got a wide receiving core and he's got his tight end. Oh my God, how do you not love his tight end? That guy will run through freaking cinder block wall. Did you see last year? When receivers went down, tight end. What's the guy's name? He's got a weird name, but that dude, man, was just taking like freight trains were hitting him. He'd get right back up, like whatever. Let's go again. That kid he's good. So he's got a good tight end. He knows he can trust. They'll run through a brick wall. He's got 3 really good receivers. And it's Baker freaking Mayfield. The kid's got Baker. Look, he was number 1 pick for a reason. And really, Cleveland fucked him over because he made Cleveland relevant again. And then they said, well, we're going to go with the massage parlor guy. And it took Baker a couple years to regain himself, get his composure back. But
don't forget about Bucky Irving, too. The Bucks have Bucky Irving is a good running back, too.
So, I mean, but Baker's back. Like Baker's got his swagger back. Back when he used to do was it Progressive? One of the commercials Baker's place. I mean, he's got that swagger back, and he's like, I put Baker in that category. Like I put Matt Stafford. Like they just do things. Like do Matt Stafford things, do Baker Mayfield things to win games. I don't see Penix and the Falcons, even though the Falcons have a pretty nice roster, I don't see them beating Tampa Bay in that division.
Maybe not. But it's also Penix's first full year starting. So maybe this year Tampa has a stranglehold on the division. But I expect that gap is going to close as Penix gets more experience. I really do think Penix is going to be good, man.
Mm-hmm.
That guy throws absolute lasers 75 yards down the field into a receiver's hands. And it's like
last year's quarterback draft class might end up, if it tracks like it tracked last year, as being one of the best quarterback draft classes we've had since the year that we had Manning, Breeze, and all.
Well, I was going to say, don't forget 2020. We still had a shit ton of real damn good starting quarterbacks come out.
Who came out in 2020?
You had Burrow, Hurts, Herbert, Love.
Well, 3 of the 4 are good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no.
You know, that's mighty bold of you to say that Joe Burrow isn't great.
No, that makes pretty good. I mean, Love being the last guy picked of the 4, right? I mean, no, you're right. That's a pretty good class. But I mean, dude, you had 5 starting quarterbacks out last year's draft already. You know, and I mean that like I said, they're going to go down as one of the better QB draft classes in probably recent history. And if a couple of these guys win Super Bowls, right?
Tua was the other guy in that class.
Tua. I mean, yeah. Mitch says Penix is too injury prone because my mouse doesn't want to work right now. There we go. He's saying he's too injury prone to bet on. Let me try something.
Well, that's the narrative from college because he had, so many injuries, but people seem to forget his last 2 years in college, he was fully healthy. He was healthy last year. He's healthy this year so far. Like, I say, like, give him, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I agree with you, Joseph, because it's the same thing like people said with Swift in Chicago. Oh, he's injury prone. Really the last 2 seasons he's been healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Philly and Chicago, he's been healthy. So I think those arguments, like we always cherry pick the negative arguments for guys. It's real easy to cherry pick a game 2 years ago where they were bad or injured, and they forget all the other good things that people do. And I get it, but I agree. Look, if Penix stayed healthy last year, I mean, until he proves otherwise, I'm not going to say he's injury prone. He didn't get injured at all last year. Swift has had 2 good, solid seasons of staying off the injury bug. You could say the same thing up in Green Bay with their running back. He stayed healthy last year. And what did people say about him when the Packers signed him? Well, he missed a lot of games the last 2 seasons with the Raiders. Well, he didn't last year with Green Bay. He stayed pretty healthy. Aaron Jones, same thing. When Packer fans were justifying why they let Aaron Jones walk. Well, he was pretty healthy with Minnesota.
I was going to say, to be fair, Aaron Jones did miss last year, but not as much as he usually does.
Right. I mean, so the injury-prone arguments, I hate those arguments to a degree because injuries are so kind of random.
And now that Ken had to sit here and jinx all these fucking running backs, every one of them's going to get fucking hurt at the beginning of the year. Yeah. And when people's fantasy fucking teams tank, to blame Ken the Bear fan.
David Montgomery. Of all the running backs, so Montgomery, who opted not to have surgery last year and came back as fast as he did, I'm wondering how healed he's going to be or how injury prone he may be this year because they didn't do the surgical option, and the option they did got him back in 5 weeks, which is insane. Because was it a partial tear?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was some type of knee injury.
And it was so I would wonder about him if I'm Detroit. But that's what I'm saying. I don't like the injury-prone argumentation because a lot of these guys who are quote-unquote injury-prone, well, they were pretty solid last year. So I don't know if I would give that to Penix. I just, yeah. Let's see. If you hate them so much, why don't you write Ben Johnson, see if you can make a trade for Davenport? Why would I want Davenport?
Come on, because he's another one that's injury prone, but he might have a good year for you, Ken.
I mean, look, you got guys who, when they get long in the tooth in their career, you can maybe say that more about. But then, like with Penix, like he's got 1 year in the league and he was healthy. So, and he hasn't been, and he got hurt early in his college career and then was healthy. So it's like, look at these guys, if they're 2 years removed from a big injury, they're not injury prone anymore, guys. I mean, like Swift, not injury prone anymore. He's 2 years removed from that injury season in Detroit. I mean, I'm going to say the same thing about Josh Jacobs. I don't think you can put that tag on him after last year. I wouldn't call them all Mr. Durability. I wouldn't necessarily say, well, no, they're injury prone, so that's a negative. No. Until it isn't, no.
And one thing about Jacobs is that, like, he had a time where, it was like I don't know if I didn't really say he was injury prone, but he played injured a lot too. Yeah. The only times that he missed games, it was like if Josh Jacobs missed games, it was because he absolutely could not play. And even in those games, he would literally go over to the coach and he would like say, I want to go in. And it was the coaches that had to keep him out.
He absolutely loved being a Raider. He had just come out on well, I don't know if it was just came out, but I just saw the interview today of he was talking with somebody and he was saying during the free agency that he tried everything he could do to be a Raider. When he got the contract offers from the other teams, he went back to them and said, could you match it? They said no. Okay, can you meet me even in the middle of what you're offering and what they're offering? They said no, and he goes, okay, now I know what you think of me, and that's why he left, according to Josh Jacobs.
I mean, like a lot, that's the other thing. A lot of these guys, like Josh Jacobs, like Jay Cutler did. Like Jay Cutler in that NFC Championship game in 2010, people say, oh, he was riding the bike. Yeah, you know why he was riding the bike? He's trying to get the coaches to put him back in with a torn ACL. I mean, that's Josh Jacobs the same way. I mean, I have a lot of respect for those guys. Now, Joe says Swift has zero contact balance. Okay, I mean, he still put up 950 yards last year. He still got home run hitting speed. I think Long said it best. He said he was commenting during a Bears game, and people were bitching about Swift going down the middle. And Long said, Swift is a premier running back that you need a premier line for, and we don't have a premier line. And I think what he means by that, I agree with that, Swift is the kind of guy that you need a line that can seal the edge. And if you can seal the edge for a guy like Swift with his speed, it's like giving Tyreek the ball on a long pass. He's gone. No one's catching him. Bye-bye. See you later. He did it last year. We saw that. When they would seal the edge, 40-yard touchdown, 45-yard touchdown. He could run those. He could break those normal. Quite a few of that. Washington was what, a 45, 50-yarder. Swift is one of those guys, you seal the edge, and he's going to get you big gains.
Yeah. If you can let him go untouched, he's got great vision, but you got to let him go untouched.
Well, he can shed some tackles. He's not going to shed, though, the big guys in the middle. He can shed the linebacker coming across the field. But on a head-to-head, if you're meeting head-on, that's where he has a little bit of problem. If you're coming at him from a side angle or from the side, he can shed you. He's good with that. I think it's like where he can't hit the brick wall and bounce off it like what, say, Marshawn Lynch used to do, or these bigger guys that we see do, because he's not that kind of guy. That's why the Bears need Roschon to be that guy down the middle.
Can we just take a second and show some appreciation for Marshawn Lynch?
Oh, I love Marshawn.
I love Marshawn, dude.
Oh, I was so pissed. Because when he was getting traded from Buffalo, he was going to come to Green Bay. We were going to trade A.J. Hawk for him. And at the last fucking minute, we pulled out of the fucking deal and he goes to Seattle. I was so pissed, especially since A.J. Hawk was off the team like 2-3 years later.
Yeah, I Marshawn, just everything about Marshawn. What is there not to like about Marshawn? Everything about it.
Hey, I know I brought this up on the show.
Plays. You like his attitude. You like the Skittles. You like everything about it.
And I know I've brought this up on the show multiple times, but I'm going to bring it up yet again. My favorite fucking Marshawn Lynch moment is right after that interception in the Super Bowl. He walks up to Pete Carroll, gets right in his face, and goes, ha, ha, ha.
Dude, I don't know. My favorite Marshawn moment, they had this video where he was walking through a mall, and there was all these Niner fans, and he would walk up to them and be like, "Hey, are you a Niner fan?" They're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Fuck you." And then he would walk to the next person. Are you a Niner fan? Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, that was great. I love Marshawn.
Marshawn's the beast, dude.
Uh-huh.
You know,
That or when we were kicking the shit out of the Jets and he was going dumb on the sidelines, he was like, oh, dude, he was getting hyphy on the sidelines. Like, he had the whole stadium going, dude.
you know, Marshawn seems like one of those guys. Like, even if a show like ours, if we reached out to him, I bet he would do it. He just seems like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
those contacts
now that it's no longer he has to make himself available for the media appearances. Now he likes to talk to
No,
people.
I mean, but we're not like media like that. Like, he'd come on and we would just we'd be just cutting it up the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we would be asking serious questions like, dude, you know, explain the Skittles, or dude, how many fans have you told fuck you today because they don't like the tipping look? No one, ESPN's not going up and say, so Marshawn, have you told any Niner fans fuck you, you suck today? And if not, why?
Shit, I'd be asking him, do you call Pete Carroll every morning at like 2:00 in the morning just to laugh at him?
I don't know what do you think of Pete Carroll being a Raiders coach now?
Uh-huh.
Well, Marshawn has actually been in the building since Carroll was hired.
Mhm.
In fact, when we drafted Genty, like Marshawn was at the draft. And allegedly, I didn't see it because he was behind the curtains, but allegedly when the Raiders drafted Genty, Marshawn was excited about it. Marshawn was happy. Like,
I would
Come on,
hope,
Ed.
beg, and pray if I'm a Raiders fan that Marshawn Lynch is sitting there in his ear just, hey, you see what I did? I'm going to teach you how to do the exact same shit since you're another big bruiser.
Hey, Ken, at least someone in Raider Nation was happy they got Genty.
jury's still out for me. Like, you know, I like it. I like what I'm hearing, but I've been sold this dream before, you know? Like, I got a whole garage full of these useless dreams that I bought from the Raiders.
Howard on Genty just because, you know, we just got told 2 years ago Bijan's a generational running back. And then 2 years later, Genty's a generational running back. Well, we just had one 2 years ago, and that's not a generation. Now, unless they're meaning like generational in terms of running backs is 3 years, because that's the shelf life of the average running back in the NFL. If that's the way they're going, then okay, maybe. But that's what I hate about the NFL. Every draft, they're generational players. Like, are they really? Are they really?
We're in the era of fucking sound bites now. No longer can you say somebody's a good running back, a great running back. You got to sell the fucking dream.
Well, you know, I hate to cross over the politics here. By the way, Ken, we're not going to do the video this morning. I'll tell you why later. But I mean, hey, good afternoon, JC716. I think the problem is this. It's like with politics, everything's been over sensationalized with political news, right? Everything is this big bombastic. Oh, look how terrible, or depending on your flavor, look how great your political figure just did. I think that's crossed over to the way we sell players. It's just got to be very bombastic and out there to get so many people emotionally attached to or involved. It's like, I hate it because then you get like poor Joe sitting there like, oh, great, we just got a generational running back again. Great. But what Joe's going through is kind of like that blowback that needs to start happening, right? It's like, dude, they're not all generational.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, but on this show, we are generational. JB, who's on after us, is also generational, as is the Huddle Sports Network. Don't forget, you can catch us on the Fire Network on Spotify and on Apple. Don't forget to catch us there, and House Hall you can catch there as well. Don't forget to be back here tomorrow because we'll be doing this again and having a lot more fun for a Freaky Friday. Who knows what kind of freaky crap we're going to get into. We got the Packers show tomorrow night. We got open mic. We got the Daily Huddle at noon. You know, lots of good stuff coming around. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. We'll see you again tomorrow morning. And remember, that playoff bracket we didn't do. Okay, don't hold us to it. Don't hold us to it.
I thought you were going to say "Go Pack Go" for a minute.
Oh,
No, but like the House Hall, blow pack blow. And
yeah.
Yeah, yo, it's game time.